And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to a mixed martial artist, a bare knuckle boxer. He is the one and only Bluegrass Kid. He is Andy Locker. Andy, what's going on?
What's going on, buddy?
Dude, you've been getting it done, like, all today. You know, you're just here, there, and everywhere. So, I mean, the day been going good?
Yes, sir. Working, finished work, relaxing for a minute, and go for a run.
Dang, my man. Now, obviously, the last time people saw you was, BKFC 17, which is not that long ago. Literally like a little over a week ago. But there's a long journey to get to, the squared circle, as Jeff Houston so eloquently puts it. So how did fighting come to you?
I pretty much, I've been a fighter my whole life. I grew up juvenile facilities, really poor. Had to fight on the bus because of my shoes were falling off my feet.
Wow.
I had a black stepdad. Been fighting my whole life. Just kind of turned a negative into a positive. My wife passed away in 2012 from lupus, a month before we got married, actually. We was together for about 6 years. Kind of just walked into a boxing gym and started amateur boxing, and then kind of led up from there,
Wow, my goodness. Now, it seems like, and my condolences, for the passing of your dearly departed wife. That is rough. I can't even imagine. But, I mean, it seems like that's a prevailing theme of your life, right? Like, a lot of people were talking about 2020 being a hellacious year, and it was for a lot of us. But, I mean, you've had that your entire life, it seems like, and you've figured out a way, like what people are trying to do now after like 2020 hit, trying to figure out a way out of the hole, right?
Yes, sir.
Fighting on the bus and everything, just to, it's not like you're fighting for relevancy. You want to, like, hey, I'm just as good as you, right? Unfortunately, being a fighter and then having your wife pass away, again, you can kind of control a lot of things, but here is this thing that is befalling your wife, and you're both helpless. There's nothing you can do.
Sir. It's kind of weird because at the same time, I had a lot of demons that I was fighting when I lost her. A lot of battles, and then 2018 I lost my mother, and my dad. I actually lost my mother the day after my dad went on life support, and so I had a hard time letting him go. So I was working a full-time job, taking care of my kid, all from living in my car and losing everything that I had, driving counties away to sit with my dad while he was on life support, hoping and praying just that, he's going to come back to me, because after all the losses, I didn't want to let him go. I would talk to him and be like, Dad, I got a fight coming up. We're going to, and I was, but it's kind of tough, man. I had to fight through all that. It's kind of like fighting. It carried me through a lot. And at the same time, it's kind of like I look around in my community and I see a lot of young people going through a lot of things as well. Reminds me of myself. And it's kind of like they're seeing this, and if I stay positive and they're seeing me fight through something and for something, that encourages them to do the same thing and fight through their battles. It's bigger than I am. I'm not that important. It's the people around us, our community. It's much bigger than we are. You know?
I mean, my goodness. I mean, to put it simply, I mean, that's an amazing set of circumstances to go through, and figuring out a way to persevere through it all. Because any one of those things could have knocked you down, and like you said, developing demons. That in itself is you're kind of digging yourself out of a hole, literally and figuratively. But to overcome all of these things, there's this like fighting spirit. There's this something inside you that it basically, even if you can't carry yourself to the quote unquote victory, it kind of carries you along, right, to get to where you need to go. So, where do you get this, like the spirit to want to continue down a path of, I guess, righteousness?
First, man, it's God. God comes first in my life. I can't love myself or anybody else without putting God first. And then it's the people. It's my community. All that's bigger than I am. Like I said, I'm not that important. It's the people in my community. God comes first. That's just the way it is. I'm not too good at putting it in words, but that's just how it is for me.
I love it. I love it. So, I mean, obviously, your first fight in MMA, was back in 2016. So, against Neil Mullins, back at Hard Rock MMA 85, right? But at what point did you decide, like, hey, I'm going to not only fight, but I'm going to take this seriously, and this might be an avenue to kind of get out of my circumstance?
No. Pretty much after I took that fight with Mullins, I already had a fire in me, but after fighting that fight specifically, it kind of lit even more of a flame up under me, because I felt like I'm always striving to be better. It's like I'm going to come back stronger from this. I'm going to learn from it. I'm not staying down. You're going to have to kill me to keep me down. I'm going to keep coming. I'm not going to stop, no matter how many beatings I take, no matter how many giants that I fight that's heavier. I don't care. I'm going to keep fighting, man. And I don't plan on stopping until I accomplish a lot more than what I've accomplished so far. I'm going to keep going. Like, if I'm lucky, that's how God will call me home, is in combat. If I'm a lucky man. For me. But yes, sir.
And wow, that's heavy, and it's a lot of people will say, especially even in the combat sports community, like, I'll live and I'll die for this, but like, you're putting it in a literal sense, because that's how much it means to you, really.
It's all that I have. Honestly, it's all that I know. I was never taught anything. I was never shown anything. I was never given anything. The only thing that I ever knew how to do and that I was good at doing was fighting. Whether it was taking up for myself or somebody else, or fighting for somebody who couldn't fight for themselves. That's all I've ever known.
That's incredible. Now, I mean, was it just, fighting, or did you have a kind of an athletic background, kind of coming up through school?
Yeah, I was a freestyle and backstroke swimmer. I always considered myself part fish. I love the water. Still fast to this day. Baseball player. I was the smallest guy on the football team, but was trying to take down the biggest guy. I played a lot of sports, man. I was always a healthy guy. I would run every morning before school. Uh, get back from school, do the same thing. Just always an active guy. Just always been healthy, athletic. Sports has always been a huge factor in my life. Fighting's kind of weird. It's kind of like how God's like, all right, Andy, I'm reaching you through this sport. This is me communicating to you. That's what built my relationship with God. It's it's amazing how he works, man. It truly is.
I think it's incredible. Now, having been a swimmer, and I think that stands out because obviously, we've had people from football come to MMA. Herschel Walker. Gosh, of course, there's Greg Hardy, but you know, um, Sean Merriman, who actually is co-owner for MMA league out here in California, Lights Out Extreme Fighting. Going over from football to combat sports, but the swimming, that had to be kind of a leg up in terms of your breathing control and cardio because, swimmers, aside from wrestlers and soccer players, probably have some of the best cardio in all of sports.
Yes, sir. I say from swimming, everybody used to look at me. I had that triangle body shape form, and it was like, man, Andy, how you getting like that to be your size? I was like, man, it's from all the swimming. I mean, we all used to get together. That was the hangout back in the day. Uh, swim meets at the public pools, racing each other. Like swimming was where it was at. Uh, I loved it. I still do that part of training. Uh, I'll always be a swimmer. Uh, my breathing is good with it. I can run a 6 minute mile, and I mean, it's it's huge, man. I love it. I love it.
That's amazing. Now, after you know, your kind of high school, career in terms of athletics ended, was it like a straight shot to like, hey, I'm gonna try some sort of combat sports via boxing, via MMA, or was there kind of a time in between where you're still trying to figure out like how to adult and what have you, and you took some time away?
I when I was growing up and the way I was brought up, be poor efficiency apartments, roaches coming out my cereal box. Since day one, I've always wanted to be a pro fighter since I was a kid. That was always my dream, was to become a pro fighter or in the military. I made some bad decisions, uh, got into some trouble from where I was always fighting. Could nobody like? I just didn't tolerate disrespect. I believed in respect and kindness. Now I expected it in return. Uh, so I kind of messed up the military thing, and it's kind of weird because all these years now, where I was at the age that I'm at when I started amateur boxing and first turning professional, and amateur MMA and everything before turning professional, is kind of like I started a little late, uh, and it's amazing because I've actually accomplished that, and it come with a lot of sacrifice. So that's something I'm proud of, man. And I couldn't have done it on my own. I've had a lot of good people that's come into my life that has taught me what it meant to be a man. My relationship with God, by I didn't have anything to do with it. It's the people in my life that help piggyback around me. Uh, Without the people and the support, I wouldn't even have made it that far. So I'm just blessed to be surrounded by good people.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, in terms of seeking out training in terms of combat sports, like how did you end up discovering discovering the gym that you eventually ended up training at? Like, did you kind of scour, kind of scorch earth? Was there an MMA or boxing scene where you are? Like, how did you end up entering the gym?
I when I first started was when my wife passed away, and I walked into that gym to help deal with a lot of stuff that was going on because I was suicidal at the time. Uh, I was falling apart. My life was a mess. I lost my best friend, my rock, somebody I didn't even deserve in the first place, and started amateur boxing. And then after I grew into that, kind of went off to another gym and actually ran into the guys that was uh, MMA coaches. Started talking to me about doing MMA, and that's like how I kind of leaned into that and started doing amateur MMA fights and grew from that. It's pretty it's a blessing, man. Uh, but
Now,
that's
no, you were saying?
what is it?
You were saying something.
Oh no, it's just that's just a blessing how it all worked out. I was boxing and then had the guys be like, "Man, Andy, I think you should try to do this MMA one time, man. I think this is going to be a good fit for you." And I loved it. I mean, I love it all. The only part that was getting me is when I was dealing with when I first fought my first one with Mullins. Uh, the striking was on point, and then I think after he realized that he couldn't stand up with me, he grabbed a hold of me and we went down. And I was still in a learning process and didn't know how to take all that in yet. I was kind of looking up at everybody like, "What's going on right here?" and got that choke on me, but I wouldn't trade it for nothing, man. I love it. It's a way of life. It's what I was called to do down here, and hopefully can inspire so many other people to do the same thing and show their true talents and gifts because they're out there, man. There's so many people out here fighting for something, and just want to bring that to light, man. And if I can help do a little bit of that, then I've done something bigger than myself down here.
That's that is so cool. Now, did in the instance of your coaches saying, "Hey, why don't you try MMA?" I know you wanted to kind of do boxing, so were you kind of disappointed that they were like, "Oh, no boxing, try MMA"? Was there a little bit of like, heartbreak there?
There was, because I grew up just throwing hands. That's how we solve our differences. We was never wrestling. I grew up in some, everywhere has got bad neighborhoods, but I grew up in the rough neighborhoods where I'm from, and all we did was throw hands. Oh, I mean, nobody ever wrestled or did all them holds or none of that. So I was kind of disappointed, man. I'm like, I'd rather just throw hands, man, and somebody's getting knocked out. But after I started learning and getting into it, I really liked it. But I'm just a boxer, man. I like to throw hands. That's where it's at for me. And bare knuckles is pretty much going back to my roots, man, where it all started. And I've been knocked out before I ever turned to a combat sport. It's really not that bad. Uh, and I love it, man. I love it. It's a blessing for me and for so many others.
That's intense. That's oh man, that's cool. Now, I mean, was there ever a dalliance that you were like, "Hey, maybe I'll get a stripe on my white belt in jiu-jitsu. Maybe I'll do a competition," or was it just like once you figured out, "Hey, maybe this, even though the world is telling me, hey, MMA is the right path for me," you're not feeling it. But was there a point where you kind of thought maybe I'm going to explore the grappling side a little bit more, or was it just striking? That's where I need to be in your heart.
Striking's where I need to be. Uh, that's just who I am. That's what I do. I feel like where I started pretty late anyway. Uh, I feel like I only got a certain amount of time to accomplish so many things. And I'm going to stick with what I know and what I do best instead of trying to pick up a lot of extra stuff that I don't really have time to do right now. I'm here to throw hands, man, and that's all I want to do. And it's what I love to do.
Yeah, no, and it shows. Patriotism USA says, "Hey, Adam. Hey, Andy. Hey, patriotism," which I almost want to believe that is our good friend, one Everett Osmer of Alabama. I want to believe that might be him, but if that is you, what's up, Everett? Thank you for putting us together. You're tremendous, tremendous. Now, uh, at what point in your career did you kind of go like, hey, this bare knuckle thing, might want to give this a try? And how was that process for you? You know, did you contact Nate Chuck or Dave Feldman? How does the whole process start to come into fruition for the Bluegrass Kid?
I uh I started watching the videos, the bare knuckles fights. Kind of got pretty intrigued by that. Again, I'm like, why am I not doing this? Like, this is how it all started for me. And I was like, so a few years back, I went to the tryouts in Philadelphia, and I drove all the way up there, and for those tryouts because it meant that much. I was determined to get into bare knuckles. I come back home, I didn't hear anything, so I started blowing everybody up. I For a minute I thought I was annoying everybody because I just would not stop. I mean, I really wouldn't. I'm talking about I would text, I'll die for this. And I'm thinking people's probably like, man, this guy's crazy. You know what I mean? And uh, I kept on, and then I was told that there was tryouts again in Florida, which was not too long back. Went to those tryouts, and not even a month before I went to those tryouts, I was a truck driver and I wrecked my truck and actually broke my back, my T11, and I did went to the tryouts with my back still broken and did those tryouts, and then while I was lost everything and still trying to rebuild all at the same time. Uh, and it's crazy because since I did those tryouts and I was training, because I was like, I know I'm gonna get the call. I know I'm gonna fight. After they see me, they got to know I got some talent. I'm gonna bang. Uh, I'm gonna knock somebody out, or I'm getting knocked out. Something's gonna happen. I know I'm gonna get the fight. I come to find out, my vertebrae was collapsing even more, and I just wouldn't stop. But and then I kind of took it easy a little bit, and of course everything's healed up, everything's going good. I got that message talking about, hey, you want to fight, and it's a blessing, man. Now it's got me like I don't want to do anything besides get in there, and I just want to do bare knuckles, man. I just want to throw down. Uh, I love doing it. I'm a quiet guy. I'm very humble, disciplined. But I mean, I love it. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't love it. It's like when I get hit, it's like, oh, you know what I mean? It's my moments of peace. But yes, sir, it's a blessing.
Now, when you finally get the call after all of that craziness, right? You know, getting injured, like it's like a lemony Snickers, right? Or a series of unfortunate events. But when you got the call back, that had to feel a little bit of like validation, and had to feel a little bit vindicated, didn't you?
Yes, sir. I was excited. I finally it it brought that motivation back. Uh, it's like, man, Andy, everything that you've been doing and all the work you're putting in, it's paying off. You're gonna get your chance to do what you love to do, and that's what happened. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed that them guys is giving me an opportunity to do what I love to do, because there's not many people that can say that they're actually really doing what they've always dreamed and wanted to do. And I'm doing it. And, and many other people like me that's doing bare knuckles. It's a blessing for us. I'm sure I can speak for everybody. Or it's a blessing, man. It's a true blessing.
No, I agree. And the pay, comparison to other professional promotions in the combat sports world, the pay is really good. The treatment of the fighters, I don't, yeah, no fighter that I've talked to, whether they're fighting themselves in BKFC or having a maybe a teammate that fights, for bare knuckle fighting championship. Nobody has a cross word about him, which is rare in the combat sports business because it's a business first. You don't necessarily, expect to be treated with respect, and when you do, both on the monetary side as well as the emotional side, not bad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like I said, going back to my roots, there I wasn't sure on how to take it on the very first flight for a minute. I was a little nervous. I was like, man, it's been a while since I've actually feels like I'm getting off the bus stop again, or my like there are no gloves right now. So uh then I got in my head, I was like, you know what, man, I've done this thousands and thousands of times, and every time it was I was fighting giants back then. So I was like, what's the worst can happen? You get knocked out, you get a cut, you heal, pick yourself up, you keep pushing forward. You know what I mean? I I I know a lot of people think I'm crazy. I love it, man. I just that's I'm not really big on words. I love it. I don't want to do anything else. Like, I really don't. Like, I would, my nose is still broke from the last bare knuckles fight, from where Anthony got that shot, man. It broke my nose there, and it's healing up, man. And honestly, I miss that feeling. I've been cut, nose broke. I've had a lot of broken bones. uh, Kind of just reminds me of what I'm fighting for, man. And I needed that, you know. Uh, I needed that.
Uh, Man, it's a hero story. And Patriots USA, he said, "Yep, that's me." So thank you, Everett Osman, and great podcast as normal. Too kind, good sir. And he's saying that, Andy, you're definitely quiet. He's trying to get you to laugh. There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I'm starting to laugh more. I'm trying to again. It's still got to still deal with a lot. You know what I mean? As far as all the losses. I mean, I'm blessed. I'm a happy person. Uh, it's just still got some battles that I battle every day. There's not a day that for me that don't go by that I don't think about the losses of my wife or my mother and my father, and uh, the way it all happened, and then that's why I got to lean on God, man, and that's what I do, and the people that He's put in my life. So it's every day. It's a network, man. I got people that I'll call and, hey, man, I'm feeling like this right now. Is this normal? And they help me get through whatever I'm going through. 19-year-old daughter does the same thing, man. My daughter's deaf, so she'll be like, "Dad, you're beautiful," even when I'm all busted up. But I'm learning how to laugh again and socialize better than what for that PTSD that I was dealing with from everything, man. I'm getting better. Yeah.
like you said, with trauma.
Yes,
It's
sir.
those are traumatic things. And my dad was in the military, right? And in a certain time, trauma was only reserved for people that came back from the war and what they saw and what they had to go through just to come back and make it alive. But then you think about it, right? Suffering traumatic losses such as you did, getting into a car crash and not wanting to drive. Like those are all traumas, being in a precarious position, and not really knowing a way out. And if you're faced with a similar type situation, or at the very least it makes you feel like that situation of old, well, that's a trauma. Like all of these things, right? And it's amazing that you had, even with all the loss, a good support system around you that kind of steered you in a path that, hey, sometimes you might have not even thought you would have been here because of all of the losses.
Yes, sir. When I first lost Jenny, when I first lost my wife, I didn't even want to continue living. I mean, I lost my whole world. I mean, I lost my best friend. I mean, it wasn't like a high school crush. I was with this woman for 6 years, right? We was getting married a month before she passed away. I mean, she was my heart, man. I didn't deserve her. She was a better person than I could ever be, and she continued to push me to be better than I was yesterday. You know what? And then the people that I have in my life, mentors and friends, people from the community. Uh, these are all people that God has put in my life for a reason. They're like, we got this guy, this kid, he's kind of off track a little bit, man. We gotta reach out here and piggyback ride him, man. And if it wasn't for having these people in my life, then I wouldn't be able to be sitting here today, uh, doing what I love to do, being a father to my daughter, being a friend, being a brother. Uh, I'm blessed for what God has done for me, man, and I'm undeserving of every bit of it. So I try to live my life every day, to be as good as I can be. To Everything's bigger than I am. My life is no more important than any living thing on this planet. You know what I mean? And that's just something I have to have up here. It's just the way it is. It's how I'm created. That's the way that I'm built. Uh, that's what I fight for, man. You know, win or lose, if I knock somebody out or I get knocked out, that's what I fight for, man. It's bigger than I am. I'm not that important.
So, not trying to compare, but in terms of your why, right? Because that's what is, that was my mic. I'm sorry about that. No, but being in a situation where you know there's not a lot of hope, right? And to have hope around you, right? I want to ask you, in terms of your why. Innately, you fought your entire life, and that is absolutely true. But now you have your beautiful daughter, right? Who, by being deaf, has her own set of circumstances that befall her. So, I, right now, on the backside of BKFC 17, what is your why? Is it your fire inside, or is it the daddy that she sees as beautiful?
Man, I guess my why is why it's because of my beautiful daughter. I gotta Once you start something, you finish it. Um, you, from all the loss and everything that we deal with in life, there's gotta there's got to be, for me, some purpose. And I guess my why is just for every, it's for the people I see in my community that is going hungry that night, or that's being judged because of how they look or the color of their skin, and you don't get the opportunities that a lot of other people get, or because of financial situations, or because of any of that. And I feel like the gym was my safe place for me when I lost everything and dealing with everything I was dealing with. So the fire is coming from all of that, my daughter, and I was hoping, if it's God's will, not my own, I'm looking at one day I'd like to have a gym. There's been many a times I couldn't afford to train for a fight because I didn't have the money, and I was not allowed to train because I didn't have the money. And I remember what that feels like, not being able to get the proper training for something when you know you're about to go to war with somebody who's in that gym and who's training and who's there to hurt you. So I want to open up a gym for anybody, for that matter, young, old, I don't care, that's dealing with something in life and that don't have that financial stability like I didn't, and that's coming in. All right, well, you know what? Glove up. This is a safe place, man. I'm not doing this to get rich. It's not about getting rich. It's about doing something bigger than I am while I'm here. It's bigger than me. I can't take anything with me when I leave.
No, that's not possible.
So I'm gonna try to make a difference while I'm here. I guess. I don't know if that.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Now, Nate Wren of Podium Sports says, the Bluegrass Kid, I saw your first professional fight against Cameron Kane. And I will say that different Bluegrass Kid. But here's a fun deal. You did face one Brandon Wren, who could be a kinfolk to one Nate Wren.
I remember that one too. Again, he had some weight on me, and he was outweighing me, and plus he was a strong wrestler at the same time, man. And I knew what I was getting into, and they made it clear he was gonna wrestle the crap out of me, and yeah, I remember that. I remember Brandon, strong wrestler, man.
I mean, when I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like being grabbed.
Yeah. Yeah, when you go slip sliding away, and somebody's bear hug, it's a different feeling. And there's nothing you
Yes,
can do
sir.
about it.
No, sir. No, sir. Not unless you actually know what you're doing. And at that time, I didn't have the right kind of training, or my mind just wasn't set into that part of fighting. And I don't like being grabbed, man. I'll stand up and bang as long as I can, but just don't grab me.
You know what? It's what do they say? Consensus or who's sexy? So there you go. Now, Everett says, Andy and Adam, y'all know I will always be there to support y'all regardless. And hey, guess what, Everett? Same to you, good sir. Like, we're there. We're there for you. 100%. Now, in the instance of Brandon Wren, Nate Wren says it's no fun fighting up a few weights, which that can be an arduous ordeal.
For me, I'm a natural. I walk around soaking wet, 126 pounds, soaking wet. I eat whatever I want, protein. I don't care whatever. I walk at 126, and if I do gain that little bit, I'm active, man. I'm a healthy. My day wakes up. Hey, I got to run 3 miles today. I've got to do. I've got to like. That's just the way my mind is. I'm a healthy guy, man, and I know I don't look it because I've been cut up and teeth knocked out and all that stuff. But I mean, I'm healthy, man, and uh, so for small guys like me, the struggle is real sometimes, and sometimes we have to we have to make, I guess, a sacrifice. I don't. We have. For me, it's like I gotta fight, and if that means I gotta fight somebody that's bigger and heavier, then I'm all for it. You know, this is what I signed up for. I just want to fight, and I don't care who it is. I don't care how big he is. Um, this is what I do. It's what I love to do. Like a zooped up little chihuahua, man. I'm an ankle biter. You know, I'll try. I'll try you. Might not turn out the best sometimes if they're that much bigger, but I will go after those ankles, man, in a heartbeat.
Hey, even the mighty sequoia, gets chopped away bit by bit,
Yes,
gradually, and
sir.
then it all falls down. So it's not about ethos to kind of go into a fight with. Just saying, everybody's got to come down somehow.
Part or
Yes, sir.
In terms of, you know, like a favorite memory, right? Do you have one? Within combat sports. Now, it could be the fight. It could be leading up to the fight. But like in your journey thus far, what has been your favorite memory coming out of it?
to get you.
My favorite memory, I would say for me, there was this, I remember walking into a fight,
Like the second,
uh,
like
walking down the aisle towards the ring, and there was this little fella, man, little bitty. He was in this, he was in a wheelchair, and I remember he just said the Bluegrass Kid. This was some years back, and he did a little fist bump thing to me, and that man, right before I was getting ready to fight, almost brought a tear to my eye, man. Uh, almost made me an emotional wreck.
that's the whole point of a maze. You're
And the
not
thing
supposed to
was,
going.
is he did it for the other guy too. But it's just I don't know, man. It's just the joy you get from everybody else's expressions, what they're getting from it. Uh, yeah, I'd have to say that was my my most memorable that moment.
I love it. Just the joy of, somebody finding joy in seeing you able to perform, right? Like that just gives you that swift kick in the butt that you need, a little fire in your butt to get what you need done.
Yes, sir. I mean, because thinking about it, man, they're fighting a battle. Everybody fights a battle that nobody else knows about. You know, that's what I took from that night. That kid was brave, man. Probably more braver than I could ever be. It's people like that that inspires me, man. Uh, the only thing that I know, I got a lot of fire in me, man. I, I just want to fight. Like I said, I want to fight even when I'm 80. I hope they got an old folks
I'm gonna get
senior citizen division.
really good.
Because when it's my time to go home, I hope that's how.
Man, that's again, a life fulfilled, which you're. I gotta ask. You're a fan of the sport, right? So I want to know what would be a dream fight for you. Now, it's a three-part question, right? Now, who would it be? Now, it could be past, present, or future, right? Or more past and present, right? One, what arena is it happening at? And then what era is it going down?
Man, wow. I never really thought about like that far ahead of anything. I just try to fight through each day, but uh man, a dream fight. I'd like to man, a dream fight. I would like to box with I'd like to box Pacquiao, man. Uh that would be a dream fight. Uh way my mind works, I could take Pacquiao, you know, but that would be a dream fight, man. He's one of my all-time favorites as well. Uh, yeah, I would go with that.
I like it. Now, in terms of arena, I'm going to put this out there because he is from the Philippines, right? I say
Yes,
if you're
sir.
going to fight Pacquiao, I'd say like if there's a arena in Manila in the Philippines, like that's where it has to be, right? Like right in like the hometown, everybody's gonna be pro Pacquiao and what have you. He's a senator
Absolutely.
out that way. Like that's the way you do it. But would you do it pre Mayweather fight Pacquiao or post Mayweather fight Pacquiao?
No, I would definitely. I'd be all for that. Look, man, I've only been out of Kentucky like once in my life, so let alone and fly me over there, man. Like that, like you're gonna have to kill me on a fight like that. Uh, I think for like fights like that would give you that much more motivation. Like if I had a fight like that, I'd be lucky if I survived training. You know, but yeah, that would that would be a dream fight.
Yeah, that's the adage is like you work so hard that you make your heroes your contemporaries, right? So if you're putting in the work, why can't it happen? All it takes is one call and one something to happen. Somebody, it's not good to say, but like somebody getting sick or whatever. But those things do happen, in combat sports, and you used to be as the Charlie Puth song says, one call away. That's it. That's all
Yes,
it
sir.
takes.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, in I gotta ask, right? Obviously, I think I know where it comes from, but you're from Kentucky, the Bluegrass Kid. Where does that moniker come from, and what does it mean to you?
The Bluegrass Kid, that was just something I was called growing up, uh, mainly from just group of friends when I'm fighting, whenever I was burglarizing something. It all comes from that. I've always loved Lexington, Kentucky. Kentucky's my home. I'm a UK fan. Um,
Yep.
and
Oh, we're just trying to
just
find out on that.
I, I felt like that name's
Because
more than me. It's bigger than I am. Once again. Um, just a kid from Kentucky, man. Nobody important.
Now, I gotta ask you a Kentucky question. Now,
Yep.
obviously, you keep a good weight to you, right? You just came out from BKFC 17, right? Which is in in Florida. But in terms of your like can't miss Kentucky delicacy, do you have one?
What do I have? What?
A Kentucky favorite meal?
A Kentucky favorite meal. Oh, man, I'm honestly, my mom, before she passed, like my mom, even as a girl, man, she made biscuits and gravy. All right. Uh, every Sunday. Uh, and that, honestly, that's comes back to my mom, man. Biscuits and gravy is my favorite. That's, that's where it was at. I miss that. My wife could cook too. She was good at cooking. Wasn't like my mama though, man. We used to argue over that. But my wife was she was bigger than I was, man. So uh put me in a difficult spot. But biscuits and gravy.
There you go. I like it. Uh, Everett likes it. Good question, Adam. I wonder who you got it from. I don't know. Like food. I like food, so I want to figure out what everybody's eating in other places that might not be California, right? Just saying.
Andy's chicken is really good. Uh I eat there a lot. Uh KFC. I mean Kentucky Fried Chicken. Uh that's I don't know. I guess I've had people tell me that the Kentucky Fried Chicken here is a lot more better than the Kentucky Fried Chicken anywhere else. But that's that's just what I've been told.
I think it would have to be.
Yes, sir.
I think it would be sacrilegious if you know, like the
Yes,
most
sir.
like bottom of the barrel Kentucky Fried Chicken actually is in Kentucky. That's shameful. Very
Yes, sir.
shameful.
So I've been told a lot. They're like, man, this your Kentucky Fried Chicken here is actually really good compared to back home. And I'm like, yeah,
It's,
but Andy's is good too.
now, Everett wants to know: is Andy a fan of the Kentucky Derby?
I mean, I I don't know if it's because I'm poor or I don't I love horses. I've been around I've been around them a lot. Uh, but I'm not somebody that would I'm not a diehard fan of watching the Derby or anything. It's entertaining, but fighting's my life, man. I I I can't get into anything else. Nothing else. I don't know if it's my attention span or what it is, but boxing is everything. Uh, a lot of people that I know love the Derby. They go bet money, they do all that stuff and, have fun. I'm just not one of those people. I can't do it. I'd rather be at a fight, watch and betting on the fight, but that's if I had the money to do that. I wouldn't even have the money to do that. I'm lucky to go to the dollar menu at McDonald's, but
it puts into it definitely puts it into perspective. It's funny. Like living in LA,
yes,
I
sir.
probably haven't watched an Oscar or Golden Globe. Like it doesn't concern me one iota. I don't live and breathe by it. Not nominated for it. Whatever. So
Yes, sir.
They can do their thing, and for those people who dig it, cool, awesome. Not
Absolutely.
me. You couldn't catch me there.
Yes, sir. It's entertaining, man, but I just it's like watching NASCAR for me. I'm driving around and start. I'm not a NASCAR guy. Like I'm. I don't know, man. It's weird. Like I said, I might be crazy. I've been hit a lot, but I love boxing, man. I love that sport, man. I love it. Eat, sleep, breathe it, man. Like if I'm a lucky man, that's how God calls me home. Is still throwing, still swinging, man.
Wow, that's almost poetic. That definitely is. Which obviously, everything that you're putting into it. Do you have any goals in terms of before you end up hanging up your boots? Is there anything that you would like to do before it's all said and done?
Yes, sir. I would like to gain and save up enough money to open this gym up, and it's like it's something I have to do. I got this in my head now, and it's what I really want. So that way, when I'm gone, there's something left behind to everybody that's out here struggling or going through something in their life that needs a safe place, man. And I want that to be there for these people. And I I'm not going to stop until either I get the money through what I'm doing to open this up, or until they tell me I can't no more, or I die in the process. I'm It's gonna happen as long as I'm able to fight. Uh, I'm not slowing down anytime soon, man. It's not gonna happen. That's my goal though. That's what I'm really fighting for right now. Is this safe place for a community to bring more talent out into the world, man. That's what it's about. To that kid that ain't getting an opportunity because of he's poor, or because of how he looks, or for any of those reasons, man. That's what it's about for me.
Amazing. Now, you say you're doing this for a community to give back into situations that might not be as well as you left it. So,
Yes, sir.
without further ado, and take as long as you like, let's get some shout outs of the way of the community that has helped raise and fortify you.
Yes, sir. So it's definitely give a shout out to the community and where I'm born and raised, Lexington, Kentucky. It's my home, man. Uh, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else besides there. Uh, Nicholasville, Kentucky. It's been a great city that I'm living in right now after losing everybody and losing everything I've ever had. They've taken me in with open arms. Uh, Two great communities right there, man. A lot of great people. Yes, sir. Lexington and Nicholasville.
Yeah, it's amazing, and everybody has their own path of redemption, and to be able to be supported, that's it's an incredible thing. Which, one more question before we go, because speaking of support, it's somebody that supports the both of us pretty well, and that's one Everett Osmer. He wants to know, what
He's an
is
awesome
your
dude.
toughest boxing fight?
My toughest boxing fight? that I've had, man, it's myself, man. Uh, I'm gonna have to say I'm my toughest opponent, man. It's there's some battles, man, that you as a fighter, and I'm not the only fighter, man. This everybody's got a battle uh, but it's definitely been myself, man. I've been the hardest opponent. Still fighting this dude right here today, every second of the day. In the mirror, he don't look so big and tough, man, but he hits pretty tough, man.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing about life, right? It's oftentimes not so much what we think the world is throwing at us. It's what we throw on ourselves and tell ourselves what we can and can't do,
Yes,
and
sir.
that's the real battle.
It is. And I was always a guy that when I wanted something, I'm going after it. All right. But the real battles started beginning once my wife passed, and then how I lost everybody else. That's when I started fighting these other demons and foreign battles. Just everything was different. But like I said, man, God and the people He's put in my life, they be pulling me out of some stuff. Gives me that fight, man. So I gotta go, man. I got a vision, and I'm willing to die to accomplish this vision, man. I don't care what I gotta do, who I gotta try to go through. It's gotta be done.
Now, in terms of people that want to support you, what is the best way to do that on social media, the internet, or otherwise to support the Bluegrass Kid?
You know, I think a lot of support would be helpful coming from sharing things on social media, what it is that I'm trying to accomplish, which is a gym, which is trying to build up my communities. Uh, I believe doing that would be a blessing because everything I'm doing, I can't do by myself. I can't do myself. I can't. So that support's huge.
So, and where can they find you on social media to do such a thing?
Uh, on Facebook, it's Andy Locker. It's actually a profile picture of me and my mom when I graduated boot camp when I was a hot mess, trouble teen. Uh, but that's on my Facebook. Uh, Everything that I do is on just that personal page. I mean, I'm not very good with, a lot of media stuff or, I think I've been hit in the head too many times. I can't keep up. Uh, Somebody else ain't doing that part for me, and I'm struggling. But yes, sir. Um, Andy Locker.
Well, Andy Locker, thank you for your time. Thank you for doing this. Again, so fresh off of your fight at BKFC 17. We can't wait to see what you're doing. My goodness. And a good thank you goes to you guys there. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I mean, Andy, you're subscribed to the podcast, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Uh,
be like, go for it.
no, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're fine. So be like Andy. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. But if you don't believe me or believe Andy, and I don't know why you wouldn't, well, here's Pro Wrestler Zeta Zhang.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe to